Hi, guys. Welcome back to Subto Shauna. This is The Way, episode 32. We're getting up there. Today, I have Dan Grove on the show. Dan is a Subto Community member, a real estate investor, and an ICU doctor.
That's right.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. This is fun.
Yeah. Isn't this awesome?
Yeah.
So, why don't we start with, tell us a little bit about being an ICU doctor first.
So, yeah, so it's funny. I always joke, everybody thinks I work in the ER because people only know the ER. Like that's what they, that's a good thing. You only want to, right. So I don't work in the ER. So ER doctors, ER medicine is for people with extreme severe ADHD, right? They want to go like patient, done. Right. I'm an ICU doctor. We have mild ADHD, which means like we only take care of the patients when they're really sick and then we get bored. Right. So ICU doctors are the doctors that other doctors call when their patients are too sick for them. Right. We take the sickest patients in the hospital. Everybody, we take care of everything, every disaster, every crisis that's happening. And so I always liked that. When I was in my training, that was my favorite thing. There was always something going on. It was always serious. There was no nonsense. So that was my favorite thing. So that actually segued into real estate investing when, dealing with disasters in the hospital. Most of these deals can be disasters in reality. We're resuscitating patients during the day and resuscitating deals during the night. It all flows together.
Did you like the thumbnail that I created? The real estate doctor is in.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm better at fixing I'm better at fixing the patients than the deals sometimes, but
sometimes the bodies are easier to repair, right?
That's probably a good thing. Yeah.
Right. So you guys are the ones that make the TikTok videos at the nurse's desk, right? Or nurse's station.
So I think those of us who have time during the work to make the TikTok videos probably, I don't know. Yeah. I never got into TikTok. I don't know. Like I
don't either really. I just know they do silly stuff like that.
So. Yeah. I think that, ICU doctors and ER doctors are similar kind of personalities. Like we tend to have a very kind of cynical and morbid sense of humor. Just because
you kind of got to, right? That helps.
Yeah, it's our defense mechanism. Otherwise, you go a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah. So, tell us how you found Subto. How did you discover PACE, and what made you decide that it was right for you?
So I was part of a big like a private practice. I also, in addition to intensive care, I do pulmonary medicine, lung disease, and we were part of a private practice. I was a junior member. And we actually, what I'm going to do? I'm going to close my shades real quick because this is causing those lines to come on my. It's really messing everything up, aren't they? Yeah. This is like, by the way, this is like amazing. Look at that. Like now, is that not great for audience? Now I'm all glowing, right? I'm glowing now, right? Lighting. There we go. Okay. So, anyways, I was part of this practice, right? And we had a contract to work in the intensive care unit. So. As a junior member, we had, I had a stake in the practice, and then we had complete control about how we took care of our patients, right? We controlled everything. And then in the middle of the pandemic, when these big health systems kind of sent us an email that said, you have to work for us and be our employees, otherwise you can't work in our hospitals anymore. And so there was nothing we could do because it was us, even though we were a successful practice, we can't compete with one of these sort of multi-billion-dollar health systems. And so we ended up being employees, and I got really nervous. And I said, listen, if everything can change like that, I don't want them telling me how to take care of my patients. And I don't want them telling me that I got to cut my salary or I got to do less or whatever. I didn't like that loss of control. Right. So I started learning.
Money you spent on medical school, right?
Yeah. I've been out long enough. It's not as bad as it is now, but right. So I really got nervous, and I wanted to kind of take back control. And I dabbled in real estate investing after the crash, but I didn't know what I was doing then. But so this time I did it right. I educated, and I got into bigger pockets, and I tried to do the sort of the traditional thing with like Burr Investments. I got some houses in Detroit, and then I heard pacemorby on a podcast, and it was just like, like light bulbs, like, oh, that's the answer. Creative finance is the answer. And so I signed up for the mentorship the next day. It's about, wow, like a year and a half ago, more than a year and a half ago, maybe almost. And so I then got into, and then I got into creative finance. So I had some money that I saved up, right? Some money like from the savings. And then I had a home equity loan and I started buying more houses. I got into buying creative deals and sort of built from there. Yeah.
Nice. So you had an epiphany like I did, and you were like, this is the way. Let me see if I can.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is the way.
Right.
Right there.
I was like, I felt like the Mandalorian. I said, oh my gosh, this is the way. This is how you do it.
Yeah. So, right. Yeah. And so, and yeah, I guess that makes pacemorby Yoda, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
That's Grogu, actually.
Oh, yeah, I know, but pacemorby's Yoda. I don't know. Like, I guess his kids are Grogu.
Yeah, he's Yoda.
Yeah.
That's little baby Phil right there.
Right. Yeah. So, then, and that's been sort of the strategy now. And my goal is to build this up over the next several years. And then I can have the freedom to practice medicine as much as I want and any way I want. And also, I have 5 kids, so it's nice to have something that if they want to get into, they have that option. And so, yeah, so it's, yeah.
How do you have time to make babies when you're a doctor, a real estate investor, and everything?
Unfortunately, they're not babies anymore, right? My youngest is 9. So, but no, I have a very amazing and righteous wife who does the majority of the work. I just finance the operation. She runs it. And so, and they're amazing children. So they are easy. My kids are easy kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine were too.
Yeah. So now they're at the age now they pretty much take care of themselves. You know what I mean? You don't have to do you have to help them with the homework but you can tell them to go to bed and they do it themselves. And
that's the thing. When you do it right in the beginning and you set the good foundation in the beginning, it kind of runs like a well-oiled engine towards the end there.
Yeah. And then once of them get
boys.
Huh?
They must be boys.
No, I have actually 3 girls on top, 2 boys at the bottom. So I have a full house, Queens over Jacks.
Over Jacks.
The 3 teenage girls, and then I have 3 teenage girls, then I have 2 little boys who are frequently baffled by their 3 teenage girls' behavior. I told them, listen, I don't ask me. I don't know what's going on.
Laughing about the full house.
Ask your mother why they're screaming and yelling and drama happening. I have no idea.
Oh, well, that's awesome though. Everybody knows their roles and they're comfortable in it, and everybody does their thing, and it all comes together.
For sure.
Awesome. So, how many properties do you have right now?
So I'm closing today on number 8. And then hopefully number 9 should be this week or next week. So soon as number 9, we're just waiting for the final date. The title company is making sure all everything lines up and all the documents are straight. So that's where I'm at now. Yeah. I'm now working.
Right. So no crooked documents allowed.
Yeah. I guess I don't have I have these experiences, but so far in what little experience I have, it's been nothing's done until it's done. Right. I had one, my first one I did. They had, on this closing day, they had put the wrong LLC on the deed of trust, and they had the wrong county. And I was like, so it almost to the very end, everything nothing's done until it's completely done.
That will make a sale not valid for sure.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm glad I read that.
How many of those are co-living, or are they just you doing? I
have one co-living active, and then the 2 new ones are going to be co-living. So one of them is going to be padsplit. The other one is going to be, I found an independent co-living property manager. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And that's in Baltimore, Maryland, right?
Well, one's in Denver and one's in Baltimore. Yeah. And then the other, I have another co-living in Baltimore also.
Nice. All right. So what are your passions and areas of focus in Sub 2 besides acquiring real estate? Like do you have, what's your avatar? What's like your favorite thing about real estate investing? Are you a closer, or are you the one that kind of puts everything together, or what?
So yeah, so I think that I fit the visionary slash buyer avatar. Um, I I I always have a new thing I'm dreaming up that I want to do, right? And so that's the vision. So like now the dream is the vision is we are connecting. So I hired an operations manager and we're connecting with wholesalers. Wholesalers are sending us all their deals at 100gatesproperties.com. That's deals at the number 100gatesproperties.com. Just send them. We're looking at all of them. Right.
And that's also in is that them? Is that their website?
No, that's our website just for the deals.
Okay.
So if the wholesalers, you sell us your deals, you can add us to your buyers list. We are buying. And then I'm also connecting those deals with private capital for the entry fees. And then the goal is to sell. So I hired an operations manager. We're setting up systems so that this can run without, it can run seamlessly so that we can scale it as it goes. And that's the dream, is to get that. Huh?
I said it'll run smoothly, just like your household.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So yeah. So and we'll scale up as it works, and then that allows us to come up with more things. Like the private capital I'm looking for is, I'm really like, one of the passions is helping people like I was, where people who want to sort of take control of their investment, right? So a lot of people, they just throw their money in a 401k or in an index fund or a mutual fund, and then some big bank or investment firm decides what to do with it, and then somebody just sort of leaves their future up to the whims of the market, and then usually gets fleeced with all kinds of fees. So I thought that people, it'd be great, like these deals, these real estate investments are a great opportunity for somebody to, at the very least, diversify. So you can take some of your income and you can put it into a real estate investment where you have much more control, right? Or say, and you can actually look at the deal, you can decide if it's a good one, and then you can, say, like, you can't go to Apple and be like, I think we need to, do this or that to make it a little better. But you could, as an investor in a house, like, I think we need to maybe, change the wallpaper. Do people do wallpaper or whatever? You could change the whatever. We can do this, we can do that, or we can sell, we can refinance, and we can, you have sort of more of a say and control, and investing in the greatest investment vehicle in
right. You got to have
history.
assets, and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So either. So like, God forbid if the electric goes out, you have the real estate that's tangible,
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of people, like, I found that they want to do something like this. They have no idea where to start, what to do, how to get into it. And I sort of obtained all this experience, all the screw ups and all the, the goods, the downs, the ups, the bads, all that stuff. And so I was like, well, if I could set up a system where I could give those people an opportunity to get into something, without having to do all the whatever legwork, year and a half, 2 years of legwork that I had done, that might be a good opportunity for people,
Gotcha. So what are you looking for to level up in your business? You have a team, right?
Well, I have an operations manager. We haven't expanded beyond that. We'll see how it goes. But we connect with, it depends on the team. We employ, one person, but we connect. We have teams in all the places that we buy. We set up systems in the area, property managers, contractors, handymen, and we set up a system for that location so that it's all sort of taken care of, right? The goal is that these things run on their own.
Mm-hmm. So you have like people that know that when you get something in that area, they're ready to go. They're ready to jump on it. Right. Yeah.
So we're developing that, like, the more, so we don't like, I never wanted to fix on a market because I feel like it limits the options, right? Everybody knows that sometimes it's hard to find deals, right? And so if you're only in one market, then you're limiting the number of deals that you could potentially get. So my feeling was it's much better, instead of learning everything you can about a market, is to learn how to find people in that market that know it already.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Because
what areas?
even if you know everything you can, I mean, you're never going to know as much as a property manager that's been there for 10 years. It doesn't matter. Even you could read everything there is. You know what I mean? You could drive the streets for 3 weeks straight. You're never going to know as much as somebody who's local and been working in that market for a long time.
Gotcha. So what are the areas that your properties that you have right now? What's 8? You're closing on 8 today, right? So what are the 7 areas that you have properties in right now? I know you said one.
We have in Baltimore, Detroit, near Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in Central Florida, and then it's going to be Denver is going to be the other one. So we have more than one in Baltimore.
Wow. So you got them kind of spread all over the eastern half.
Yeah, but I'll go anywhere. Like, you know, it's hard. It's harder to find in certain places. Like, it's the big expensive cities. It's tough to find something that works. So, but yeah, and also the extremely rural areas are difficult because you want to have enough of a sort of at least small urban infrastructure to have options for property managers, options for, you know, the more options, the better.
Right. Are you wholesaling right now or just doing buy and holds? Like, are you?
Yeah, no, I don't wholesale. I guess wholesaling is a backup plan if something happens where they can't get the funding. If I find a really good deal, I can't get an investor, then maybe we'll wholesale. But I don't have a strategy of wholesaling. I feel like
you do. You usually either you do it in the beginning to build up a little bit of a cushion, or you might continue to do it throughout your real estate investing journey if you have like too many on your plate, or you know, or it's not an area.
Yeah. But since our strategy is to actually get from wholesalers, you know, I'm not getting directly, although sometimes the agents reach out, but yeah, so it's not a strategy that I can do. It takes too much. It's too much effort.
But I mean, you don't have to be the closer, but like if a wholesaler brings you a deal and you know that you can make money off of the deal that they bring you selling it to someone else.
So like kind of like a daisy chain kind of, yeah, listen, if that works, I haven't had that happen yet, but I mean, anything's possible, but wholesalers, like, God bless them. And they do very good work and they work very, very hard, but I don't think I could cold call someone. I mean, I could, but it's just like doing that over and over and over again. I just don't have time for that.
You're a doctor, used to giving orders to patients and nurses, right?
Yeah. So I'll give the orders to wholesalers. Hey, go back to the seller and get it lower than that.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite exit strategy? I know you like co-living right now, but are there several, or?
I like all the long-term strategies. I like the long-term exit strategies just because short-term rentals are a challenge, but I have one of those. If you can, if you can get a good manager, like I had one short-term rental that I managed myself only because there's a tax benefit for, you can offset your W-2 with the depreciation if you manage it. But now I'm actually in the process of handing that off. But I think if you have a good property in a good area with a good manager, maybe short-term rentals, but that's sort of lower on the list. Me, it's like, if I were to choose, it's like co-living and long-term rental is number one. And then maybe the short-term, mid-term rental as number two, provided I have a good manager.
Did you know that Tanisha Epps, who is also in the DMV market, she was so good at the Airbnb short terms and now kind of moved over to midterm rentals, when the market kind of started falling. But she now has a business built around helping other people set up and maybe even manage. I don't know if she does the managing, but she, has a business set around helping people with those.
Yeah, and then that's exactly. So that's what I would do is that, I mean, the way I would, you get the deal and then you have to underwrite it, and the exit strategy sometimes depends on the way the deal is set up. And then I will go to someone like Tanisha or, even also Tech Chang, like these are people, Nick Bromley is in Colorado. Like there's a lot of people that this is their, and Rex Shippey, these are people I'm connected with. And so where they're midterm specialists, and if they're in the area or if they work in that area, then I will connect with them on the deal and say, is this something that would work? And would you manage it? That's how I approach, everything, is that the deal comes and then I find a property manager and say, what would this rent for? And would you manage it? Right. Because like, again, Rentometer, Zillow Rents, it's a nice starting point, but you got to be careful because there could be local sort of nuances that it doesn't pick up on. I'll give you an example. I had a great deal I was looking at somewhere in Florida, and it cash flowed like $500 a month. And the predicted rent was $2,900 on Rentometer based on 12 months of good comps. It's like, great. So, but I always call a property manager. So I call the property manager and ask them, hey, what would this house rent for? I show him the pictures. Hey, what would this rent for? And he told me $2,400. And I said, well, wait a second. Rentometer said $2,900. What happened? So he said, what happened was Rentometer was the last 12 months. But what had happened is the year before that, there was a hurricane in Florida. And a lot of people were having their houses repaired and moved into rentals for the year. And that created a supply, a demand increase, which raised the profits and raised the rents for that year. And now they are all moving back. And so then the demand dropped, and then the prices have dropped. And so had I just gone with the calculators, I would have missed that very subtle nuance that only somebody who's local to the market. And that's why, like, for example, being in the city I'm in, I'm still using a property manager in Baltimore because I live in Baltimore, but I don't know the nuances of tenants and areas and streets, especially in like old cities, like, like Baltimore, it could be blocks make a difference, and so a property manager would know that. Maybe I would. And so if I said to myself, like, if I'm using a property management company because they know more anyways, then they can do that anywhere, right? Like, why do you need to be local? You know what I mean?
Right. So, I can tell you ever have a question about Baltimore, I can tell you,
Yeah, no, well, it's right. Cause you were an agent there. So, there's a lot of like,
I grew up
I have a house on near Johns Hopkins Hospital where if you go 3 blocks in one direction, it's a different planet. Not even a different country. It's like a different planet. Like you don't even know what happened.
In the city. I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up just outside the city in the county, but still, yeah. It's like that. You literally could go around the corner and it's
like that in all old cities because they've been around so long that the sort of the gentrification happened in pockets and decades, and it sort of is irregular. And then, and so it's not as sort of uniform as the newer cities are.
So when did you move out of Arizona? You grew up in Arizona, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Arizona.
Right around where Pace lives, right?
Yeah. But I think when I was growing up, where Pace lives was in the middle of the desert. There was nothing there. It's the city's grown so much in the last. But when I went away to medical school, I sort of was. That was when I went, moved away, and then I ended up getting married. And my wife was from New Jersey, so she didn't want to go back to Arizona, and I didn't like New Jersey, so Maryland was our kind of compromise.
Gotcha. How do you like it?
Maryland's great. Yeah, Maryland's great. It only gets like north. The Northeast begins at Philadelphia. So that's when it gets kind of like scary.
Yeah.
That's when people start getting intense, Yeah. Too intense for me.
Like in Maryland, you got mountains, you got farmland, you got beaches over on the coast, you got the bay where a lot of boating happens because you're not out on the open ocean. It's like you got everything there. And then you got the capital.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So it's great. We take the kids all the time.
Yeah. So have you been to Ocean City?
I haven't been to Ocean City. I'm not a beach guy. I'm a mountain guy. Like I like hiking in the mountains. We like to go like to Shenandoah and hiking and there's a lot of really great hiking around Baltimore, which you wouldn't think of.
Been to the beach? You should.
I've been to the beach. I was born in California, but and also the other thing is, since I was born in California and I always went to the beaches in California, I always found East Coast beaches to be disappointing.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I would think growing up on Maryland, I know that the water's a lot colder over there, but like I hate the cold. So like if you like warm water, it warms up pretty early on the East Coast because jet stream comes right down there. And
oh man, but California, it's really hard to beat. Driving up the Pacific Coast Highway, like used to go to whatever Newport Beach and Santa Monica, and
that's
so Laguna Beach.
I would
for sure. Go on Turo, rent a convertible, and drive up and down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Nice. Just don't rent a convertible in Florida like I did because it's really hot.
Yeah, right. Unless it's February.
Right. Exactly. So, where can folks get a hold of you if they'd like to reach out to you, send you some deals, do some business?
Yeah, so you can see the website growfamilyinvestments.com has a lot of information for people who are who don't know much about real estate. There's educational stuff, but it also has all my social media stuff that you can see there. If you want to send, my email is dgrove@100gatesproperties.com, or you can send deals if you're a wholesaler and you just want to add me to your buyer list, send them to deals@100gatesproperties.com. So there's a lot of information. Like I have a lot of videos and posts on the growfamilyinvestments.com site, like answering questions like why creative finance? Why don't I flip? Why don't I, and things about the market or just any experience that I've been having. I try to, give people an opportunity to learn from the website.
Right. So whatever is not here on this banner on the screen, guys, you'll be able to find those links in the show notes below.
Yeah.
Okay.
TikTok. I don't dance. That's the problem. I can't be on TikTok. I don't dance.
Right. Well, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff on TikTok, right?
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Use all the equipment and, push somebody down the hall on one of those copiers on rollers or I don't know.
Yeah, kids these days. I don't know.
Right. All right. So these are the kind of properties, basically anything with creative finance that cash flows as a long-term rental, because anything other than a long-term rental for an exit strategy would be above that, right?
Yeah, we will look at anything because a lot of times we'll get them from the wholesaler, and if they don't have a great spread, but you can go back to the wholesaler and say, listen, hey, if you could negotiate this down a little bit, we would definitely do it, So we don't want to say no. I don't want, and wholesalers got enough to do with their life with all their calls and meetings. They don't have to just send it to us and we'll let you know. You know what I mean? Just put us on the list. We'll look at everything.
Right. Do you have a certain percent of ARV? Like maybe 70% of ARV or something like that?
Not really, because we're not flipping. So I'm not so it's, I mean, we have bought above market on a couple houses because we're doing long-term.
Creative.
Right. It's better to be a little bit of equity just because it gives you some cushion and you can then refinance out earlier. But
so that's good to know. You're not really looking for homes that need to be flipped. You're looking for a pretty much turnkey or very light cosmetic upgrade.
Yeah, you see, the flipping, I'm not into yet. It's flipping just is a lot more. It's a lot more work, and it has two major variables that make me, give me anxiety. One is putting your whole life in the hands of a contractor. And so, and contractors there's some great contractors, but it's really hard to tell. They
don't have the greatest reputation.
Yeah, and then also you're putting the second variable is the market, right? If you have you estimate your ARV right now in September, right, and it takes you 6 months, and then something happens, I don't know, and then the values drop. Right, then you're stuck. Whereas with the long-term holds, you waiting time is sort of heals a lot of real estate wounds, right?
Right. Yeah, it's always
big expenses, overpaying, market swings. Time heals those things, and so that's why I'm trying to hold, long-term.
It's definitely an advanced thing. It's not a beginner intermediate way to do real estate for sure. But
I think Yoda would agree about patience. You know what I mean?
right. Hey,
Patience.
this is the way.
Patience, young Jedi. Patience.
Right. Okay. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. This is fun. Yeah, definitely. Anybody can reach out if you have questions. Anybody can reach out to me. I'm happy to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so hang back and we'll before we part ways, we'll have a couple words and then I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh.